Hello, after our few-week hiatus, we are back here at Mile High Discussions. Griffin Woolsey, again, as always, joined by some amazing students here from the DPS system. Let's go ahead and just swing it right over there to them, not wasting any time. Jack, tell me about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jack. My real name's John.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, and my favorite color is blue.
Hello, I'm Jack. I like 20th century warships.
Not 19th, though.
No. Well, they were boring.
Okay.
I'm Caroline. I'm in the 9th grade.
Okay, right on. Thanks for being on the show today. I've already kind of given you a rundown, and you out there a rundown of how the show works. Right now, we're going to just jump right into a segment we like to call Out of Left Field. This is how we're going to gauge these students and get to know them a little bit better before we jump right into the discussion. So really quickly, just tell me a little bit about how you feel. Do you have nicknames, Jack? I've got two Jacks on the show today. One of them seems to be a real name, one of them seems to be a nickname, so we've already got that in line. Where did Jack come from?
Where did Jack come from?
Just the easy nickname
I think
for
someone
John?
just made it up along the way somewhere.
When did you start becoming known as Jack?
I don't know.
You don't know?
It's just always been Jack.
Always, okay, since birth. Does anybody else? Kaylee, Caroline, do you have nicknames?
I go by Cece.
Cece, where did that come from?
My first and last name.
Okay, original. Kaylee?
I just go by Kaylee.
No nicknames at all?
I have my mom calls me Duna, but...
Duna?
Yep.
Where did that come from?
Well, she had an imaginary friend when she was little.
Oh, wow.
Called Duna, and my grandmother's like, hey, you have a new friend now or something.
You have a real friend now, so let's actually name her. Are you glad that your real name isn't Duna?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
very
I
glad.
would imagine so. Jack, what about you? Do you have any nicknames? Jackie boy?
No, I've always gone by Jack. When I was little, my mom would call me Jack and Attack, and that's the closest I've been to not being called Jack.
Okay, cool. Well, we're just going to keep moving right along into this external support. How do you all support, how do you get your support base outside of school? So we're not talking teachers or coaches or administrators or anything like that. How do you get support mentally, emotionally? Where does that come from? Caroline?
I typically get it from my family and just friends. Typically on the weekend, I just kind of talk about my week with my friends and hang out with them.
Nice. Jack?
I think I get my support from a bunch of online friends I have that I play a few different video games with. People on the internet are just much easier to deal with than people in real life.
Right. Very true. What kind of games do you play?
I play one game called World of Warships.
Okay.
Everyone gets their own 20th century battleship and you go out onto a big field and you all kind of slug it out.
Very cool. So now we're getting a little bit farther into why you like 20th century battleships so much. Cool. Kaylee?
Mostly my friends, kind of like Cece. Yeah, they're all very supportive. I can talk to them about anything. And especially my mom, too. She definitely supports anything I do. I can talk to her about a lot of things. She's very, very good that way. So
one more. Let's just finish it off. Jack, what about you, my man?
Probably my parents.
Right on.
Mostly
and
from
how
them.
do they support you?
I don't know. 'Cause my mom is notorious for bugging me with questions about how my day was and what did I do.
Is that annoying for you?
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yes.
Would you rather you just walk in the door and she's just mute?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, if you're watching, stop talking to Jack. He's had it up to here. Okay, so Cece, could you elaborate more? What sort of things do people, other than just telling them about your day, how do they kind of console you in rough times or good times? What are some things that a big thing for me is just kind of constant support and building up my self-esteem is something that's really helpful for me, who's somebody. So what about you?
Just kind of talking and talking about other people and stuff. I don't know, and we kind of it's mostly just talking about stuff, or just we're not really closed about anything. We just sort of talk about anything and everything, which sort of helps.
Yeah, that's always nice to have have the ability to talk to somebody about anything and not feel that the doors are closed or feel self-conscious about what's coming out of your mouth. I think that that's huge. What kind of, you're kind of in another world here, Jack, with online. What are the freedoms that enables you to run with?
I think mostly what I like about online friends is that I have an opportunity to like completely forget everything that's happening in the real world. Like I can just like, after a long and tiring day, I can just like hop on. It's like, oh, today was okay. Yeah, sounds good. Let's head down the left flank and see if we can sink one of their battleships. And there we go.
Right in.
Day's over.
So are you just wired in?
Yeah, for the most part. And then after dinner, because I have dinner with my family every night, and then after that, it's either like homework or reading or watching something with the family, something else like
Right.
that.
Does your family get jealous of your online
I don't
support
know.
group? Are they supportive of that?
Yeah, Mom is a little strict on when I can and cannot use it, but for the most part, I'm allowed my free reign, and I do make sure to not like be completely self-absorbed in it.
Right. That's always a good line not to cross. So Jack, you don't want your mom constantly pestering
It's not
you.
that I don't want her to. It's not that I don't like it. It's that it's the. I don't know. It's the chit chat. You know. How was your day? Do you really care?
She does. She's always asking you. Do you ask her? Do you really
No,
care?
I don't ask.
Maybe
I don't
you
ask-
should.
No, I don't ask her how her day is.
Oh. Maybe that's why she's constantly nagging you. She's just wanting it back one time instead of, leave me alone, Mom.
I don't say that. It's just, you know, it's usually a grunt. Something like
Just making animal noises at that point, huh? Can you give an example? How was your day
There
today,
was one.
Jack? Good to see you. I love you so much. I nursed you. I carried you in my body for 9 months. How are you?
that. Oh, you got.
All right, Kaylee.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you what are some things that really build up? What does support mean to you?
Support means to me like I sometimes have hard days and stuff, and it's nice to like rant to my friends a little bit and get it all out and things like that. And support really means like giving critiques sometimes, like telling me when I'm doing something wrong, but also just listening and being supportive of what I'm doing. Can you use the word support in that answer?
Of course. We're not looking for a Webster's definition here. So that's great. So Jack, do you, you're kind of in this alternate universe, if you will, online. Are you then communicating about things on your day, or you're totally zoned in on, we're going to flank this guy on the right?
I think it's kind of a mix. Like I have a couple friends who who are like really good friends, where like I share like sometimes I share like how my day was or like something that's been bugging me lately, and I have other friends where I just like they're completely, it's like they play the game as seriously as I do, and so it's just like, let's hop in and forget everything else that's been happening and have some fun.
Yeah, have fun together. That's always good. We are going to wrap it up here. Batting 1,000 out of left field. Sending it to commercial. We'll see you soon.
This is a truly amazing place.
Adam Blue, co-founder of the website LinkedIn, is talking about Emily Griffith Technical College.
And I think there's a story that they tell here, which is exactly the story that we are trying to tell.
And that story is a brand new job initiative website called Skillful.
Skillful has something for everyone, wherever they are in their job search. It brings together job seekers, employers, and educators. It's very dynamic and inclusive.
In today's job market, employers are often looking for a specific set of skills, and finding those specific set of job seekers can be challenging.
I go around the state and I talk to a lot of business employers. And you know the one thing that they tell me consistently?
I want to grow my company. My company's ready to grow, but I can't find skilled workers. This is a solution. This is a huge solution.
Governor Hickenlooper breaks it down on how Skillful can help.
In a very real way, employers are going to be able to communicate directly, or much more directly than to people that they're interested in maybe hiring. Job seekers are going to be able to see exactly if they have the skills that employers are looking for, and if not, where can they go to earn the skills so that they will be the desired applicant for a specific job.
In IT or manufacturing.
And that's where Emily Griffith Technical College steps in.
The people that put on this event from the Markle Foundation and LinkedIn said, wow, couldn't ask for a better setting and backdrop to really highlight the effort we want to address with the middle skills gaps that they talked about this morning, and the fact that 47% of all jobs are requiring these middle skills. So it gave us an opportunity to showcase not only the college, selfishly, but also to really showcase the efforts and what they want to try and accomplish.
How about from a student's perspective?
For Skillful, you can easily type in like a keyword. The programming language that I'm learning is called Swift. I just had to type in Swift, and there's all the jobs in Colorado for Swift developers, and it was really easy to use, and I felt it was very user-friendly.
From the looks of the crowd, Skillful and Emily Griffith Technical College are a great match for job seekers and the training they need.
All right, welcome back, Mile High Discussions. We just wrapped up Out of Left Field, going to jump right into the discussion today. And first off, let's just talk about grades versus performance. So we all know the grading system, A, B, C, D, F. How do you all feel about that? Do you think that there are other things that we could be doing?
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Where'd the E go? You know, you got the A and you got the B and the C and the D, but then they just skipped a letter, right, to F. Why'd they do that?
I'm not sure. I almost said E just now, but then I realized I haven't gotten an E since I was in kindergarten, and that was for exceptional behavior. Caroline, do you believe in standardized tests? I know that you all are a little bit younger. You're not going to be worrying about the ACT anytime soon, and by that I mean the next year or so. But you did take these standardized tests up through middle school and even some parts of elementary school. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that it's a waste of time? Do you think it's a benefit to society? It's a good gauge to see intelligence and knowledge? What do you all think?
Can I jump in on this
Go for
question?
it.
Well, what I would say about standardized tests is I understand the point of them. It's to kind of like get a base grade for everyone and to make sure all the schools are like doing their jobs. But I feel like having a test that the teachers usually get paid based on those standardized tests sometimes. So teachers are forced to teach to that test, and when that happens, we don't really get to learn things that we need to. We just have to learn things that'll be on that test, which I don't think is
That's a great point.
You learn what's on the test, not what's actually going to help you in life.
Right.
You know, if I need to know how to do some sort of quadratic angle, fandangle, I'll carry the 3 and add 7. Is that really going to help me in life? You know?
It might. You need to pay more attention.
You think I'm going to need to multiply and find the cross angle of some sort of parabola?
Absolutely not. But what I will say is that in the fields of science or engineering, you will have to know those things, and you will have to grow on those things. So I understand your pain in that, where it's like, what am I even learning? But at the same time, some of those things can be carried on for decades into academia. But I understand your point. That's a great point. What I wish people taught me is how to pay my taxes. Nobody ever.
Yes.
Or how a mortgage works, or any of those things that you're going to get to, or hopefully get to at a point in your life where you're looking to buy your first home, and it's like, I have a book about parabolas, and they're just going to kind of shake their head. So that's a great point. Caroline, what do you think about standardized testing?
I feel like to add on to what Kaylee said, it does sort of like schools depend on it for their income, which is kind of not okay. That's it.
Jack?
I think standardized testing is kind of a partially necessary evil. Like, I mean, obviously it does gauge intelligence, but it requires that like that teachers teach to the test, like Jack mentioned, and that's not as valuable as like other things. I think there are definitely other ways that you can like evaluate intelligence, but they're not as easy as standardized testing. There was one test I heard about that was supposed to be like an alternative to an IQ test, where you give the student like an item and they have to list as many uses as they can for that item. So for instance, you'd have like a blanket, and like a really creative student might be like, well, you can put out a fire, you can rip it up and tie it into rope, you can use it as a sail on a very small boat, and other things like that. So I think that there's definitely more accurate ways to assess intelligence like that, but that's a lot more time intensive. So like that sort of test, you'd have to grade it individually for each and every student, and with millions of students in the country, that's really impractical. So standardized testing, it isn't the best solution we could have, but it's the most well-rounded for all of the problems that evaluating large amounts of students' intelligence requires.
It seems like it might just be the easiest or most accommodating, if you will, to the masses to get everybody takes the same tests, and that's how we're going to grade it.
Yeah.
But that kind of strays away from some people just don't do very well with tests. And you could have a straight A student, and then they get to a standardized test, and they'll totally flop, and then they'll might not feel as intelligent just because they couldn't, do the test well, so to speak. So Jack, I know that you have some more on this.
Well, so if this is a test question I saw in the park test this year. So Atlas has 4 oranges. Mary has 6 oranges. Who has the more peaches?
Did you really see that question?
Yes, that was the question I saw.
What were the answers?
It was the fill in the blank one.
Was it none?
That's what I wrote.
Okay. Well,
But
geez, I don't know if I would have even gotten.
I was told that I got that question wrong. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, let's move on from standardized testing. I'm bored with it already. Let's talk about school communities. So, what are some things that your school does really well in providing that sense of community, providing support for their students? So now, on the other side of things, rather than external support, let's talk internal support. How does your school support you and other students? Cece?
Our school has a lot of great teachers, I feel, in which like a lot of the students are like okay with speaking to about like their issues and certain things, and then we always have our like counselors to go talk to, and that's sort of good for people's like mental health and stuff, to go talk to people.
Do you think that all students have the similar opinion as you on this? Do you think that they are open about these things, or it's more of the counselors will talk to the problem children once they create problems, or are people more?
Well, for our counselor, she has a sign up outside of her room in which like a fair amount of people go to sign up to talk to her about certain things, and she'll like go and talk to people, problem children too, I guess, but it's definitely more of like a willing thing, and a lot of the kids at our school really like her and like talking to her, so I feel like that's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You'd be sad that a lot of people don't have that, where they don't feel comfortable seeing their counselor, or their school doesn't provide an environment for them where they can feel comfortable signing their name on a list without, being bullied or made fun of or what have you. Jack, do you have something to say?
About what am I saying?
That's okay. Haley.
I do actually.
Yeah.
I think there's this kind of stigma about mental health, that it is something to be ashamed of. Like, I could see why you would think that kids would be ashamed of signing their name on this list. But I think overall mental health should be something that we should focus more on a little bit more. But yeah, our school community is fairly good about mental health and things like that. There's counselors, there's multiple staff members who have certain jobs that are assigned to them based on certain issues. Like we have a dean of students for talking issues. We have like student support, which is like talking students to teachers, and school counselor, which is talking about students' personal issues, which is nice.
My theory, if anyone cares about my opinion, but if you can complain about your problems all you want, but I don't really think that does you any good. It's actually wanting to change what's wrong. So I don't know. This whole just talking about it, I think there's too much just complain, not enough. Well, how about here's an idea, here's a solution, let's go do that. I think there's just a lot of complaining.
That's where counseling comes into play. I think that's where the counselor's role is. Okay, I'm hearing this student complain, so let's develop a game plan for this student to move forward and address it rather than to continue on running in circles, complaining. How do we fix this then?
There's just a lot of drama,
Right.
It's just that drama. Oh, that guy he didn't like my shirt. Oh boy, he didn't like what your shirt said.
He didn't like what your shirt said. Jack doesn't even say hello to his mother when he...
I do say, okay, I want to be very clear. I do say hello to my mother. I do say hello.
And then after that, it's just blank.
and then there might not be,
Yeah,
hello, grunt.
I wouldn't
Good
say
morning.
that. Maybe there's a
sharing
little bit of
things.
it. I'm not a huge on sharing things,
Yeah.
You don't need to know about my problem.
That's fine. I'm picking up on that already. Jack, you jump in on this. How does your school environment kind of foster a kind of a community?
I think my school, the SSD Cole, really approaches school community well. Everyone is in an advisory. Like each teacher has a group of about 13 or maybe 15 students, and every morning we come in and we spend like the first 10 minutes of the morning just with our advisors, like getting our stuff together and like finishing up any homework we might have skimped out on the night before or something like that. Twice a week we have just during our elective period we have advisory, and advisory, it's usually like a study hall, and I think advisories generally become, like, they're really close-knit, like with me and my advisory, it almost feels like family. And so, and then overall, every morning for 30 minutes we have morning meeting where everyone comes down into the commons, and our principal or a teacher or someone else basically has a soapbox for a little while to speak about something they see that's happening in the school or the world or somewhere else. So I think that like my school has definitely created a really tight-knit sense of community. It helps that it's fairly small right now. We have like 300 students total, and so it solves a lot of the social issues that like bigger schools have. Like very, very rarely, like someone will have enough beef with someone else to like actually like start a physical fight with someone else. And then when that does happen, the administration is like entirely supportive. The school uses an approach called restorative justice, where we take like the two people who've had an issue and we put them in the same room and talk it out for however long it takes to talk out the issue. And so overall, like, there's never two people who have a lot of beef for repeatedly or for a long time, and everyone knows each other. It's gossip is like basically non-existent because there's no need for it. It's really tight and communal, and I think it makes a really well-oiled machine out of the school. It's really efficient and just overall a great school.
It sounds like it. We just burned entirely through our second commercial, shining light on that exemplary school. So good job with that school. Whatever they're doing, keep it going. We're just going to jump right into the final discussion here. Some things that we talked about today that you want to expand on. Jack?
So I just want to be very clear. I'm against testing. Okay. So this great corporation, we call it Pearson. the current testing we use doesn't really reflect whether or not you know the subjects, because it's not testing you on whether or not you're ready. I mean, we spend so much time during the school year preparing for the test. If the test is truly going to be a good reading of what you know, you shouldn't have to prepare for it. It should just come up, you'd be like, all right, I got this, let's go. No, but instead you got to spend months preparing. Oh, they're going to take a practice test, and this practice test is absolutely worthless. But, you know, that's the problem. There's too much preparing, and there's not enough learning going on. So.
Do you think it would be better if they then took immediately, first day of school, take kind of like a placement test? How much do you know?
I think we should abolish testing.
Do
what? Tests are bad. I think
no more testing.
I think the tests don't accomplish anything, okay? You showing up and doing your work, so doing a project, writing an essay, whatever it is, I think that is a more accurate depiction of how you work, because you're doing it every day, not just the one day I show up, oh, I didn't sleep well last night, so I'm screwed.
Exactly. So we're going to head right into our 2 cents now. Caroline.
I just sort of wanted to talk about how in like media, there's like fewer representation for like minorities, people of color, LGBTQIA plus people, and how like even when there is representation for these people, it's like very lacking and kind of stereotypical.
Well said. Jack?
I just kind of on the testing thing, I think there needs to be a lot more support in testing for like people who might be disadvantaged. Like for instance, my school's preparing for the ACT right now, and we have a whole bunch of different math classes of kids, and the tests on the ACT go all the way up to the skill ceiling of the highest math class, even though we have a lot of people who, due to circumstances outside of their control, are stuck below like that skill level, and they're being disadvantaged on a test that they shouldn't be disadvantaged on. I think that's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Right. Kaylee?
I wanted to talk about raped women's rights. So in 15 out of 50 states, a rapist has custody over a child that's conceived from rape. And that shouldn't be legal, personally, I think. It's an awful, awful issue in like 35 out of 50 states. The rapist has to be convicted of rape before that can be even a factor in custody, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, tough, crazy stuff. Jack, go ahead and round it off for us, man.
So our current testing system, it doesn't measure whether or not students know what they're talking about. It's just a way so that this big company can make a bunch of money. And you know, up until some president decided that we were going to have some sort of left behind, no child behind left or something like that, this testing thing, it's getting out of control. You want to take a test to use the bathroom, a test to brush your teeth, a test. I mean, they got a test for everything nowadays. So.
Right. Well, thank you for offering up your 2 cents. You all did an amazing job today getting on discussion. We talked about some, here at the end especially, talked about some really big, prominent issues in today's society. Testing was a huge thing. I hope that none of you have a test you have to take. We've got about 30 seconds. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say really quickly? All right, that's great. Well, thank you for joining us here on Mile High Discussions. We are always pleased to have you as an audience. Coming up right after this, we are going to be taping one more episode. I'm watching the floor director wrap it down, so okay, well, see you next time on Mile High.